Hey, Leroy, can you hear me? Okay, you're on mute. I need to ask you a question real quick. Did you see Emma's note in the chat? Derek's not here, so if you could open the meeting, and then Scott, you can hand it over to Scott as the secretary to run the meeting. It'd probably be easier for him to run it since you're here in person. We can't hear you. I don't know. John, is the speaker turned on?
Volume up. Volume up.
You may have an issue with the microphone or something.
Hey, Dan, can you hear me?
James, yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, I'm going to be muted until I need to say something because I got radios and monitors going.
Okay. Leroy, we still can't hear you if you're trying to say anything. All right, he's going to sign off and then try to sign back in real quick. Scott, I guess if it doesn't work, we'll just...
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. There you are.
Sorry about that.
So yeah, like I said, if you could just open the meeting, call to order, and then ask Commissioner Lindsay to take over for you since he's here in person.
Okay. Well, we'll get started with the meeting, and appreciate your presence. This is the regular meeting for Planning and Zoning Commission, and we'll hand it off to Commissioner Lindsay to run the meeting.
Good evening, everyone. We are here for the Planning and Zoning meeting pursuant to Section 551 of the Texas Government Code. Notice is hereby given to the regular meeting of the P&Z Commission to be held on Monday, August 1st, 2022 at 6:30 in the Ronald Reagan Room of the Red Oak Municipal Center, 200 Lakeview Parkway, Red Oak. Video conference is authorized under Section 551.127 of the Texas Government Code, and we will be in the following order: call to order. The meeting will be called to order with Commissioner Stanfield, Haley, Maggie's here, and Ostovich, present in person, and looks like what we got.
It was Leroy and
James are on by Zoom. So we will open this meeting and declare that a quorum has been called and notices have been legally posted. Under new business, item A, we're going to conduct a public hearing and consider a zoning change from Plan Development 24R-3 revised PD-24R-3 to Plan Development 24R-4 PD 24R-4 to extend the building southwest corner of the site, relocating of the dumpster and allowing for modifications on the site identified as Lot 3, Block 1 of Red Oak Plaza located at the southwest corner of Plaza Drive and Interstate 35 Service Road. The address of 106 Plaza Drive, City of Red Oak, Ellis County, Texas. Case ZC22-21 requested by Sunny Patel, and we will let staff open this up.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is a request to amend the zoning on the property to allow for the extension of the building on the southwest corner of the site and relocate the dumpster to the southeast corner of the site. According to the applicant, the addition will allow for additional storage space for medical supplies and a break room for employees. There has been an illegal dumping issue in and around the dumpster, so its relocation will prevent any access to Dana Street. Screening wall will be installed between the proposed building addition and the wall to the west to prevent any sort of trespassing. Staff recommends approval of the request as presented.
Everything up there. We're going to conduct a public hearing. This is a public hearing. Public will be able to speak. If you are here to speak on the item, we would ask that you hold your speaking to 2 minutes, please. And if you would, when you approach, state your name and your address for the record. Any other questions of the commissioners for Ms. Emma before we have the public hearing? Okay, we will open the public hearing. 37.
Sunny Patel, address 106 Plaza Drive, Red Oak, Texas, 75154. I'm the managing member of the entity of this parcel. So as Emma stated, we've been having an issue with illegal trespassing from the Beckley Pikes neighborhood. They love to go from the Beckley Pikes neighborhood through our parcel to do whatever illegal activities they want to do. This has been an ongoing issue. I've talked with the chief, Red Oak manager, Ellis County judge. Really, there's no solution because that area is not being properly developed. So one solution that we can offer is to move the dumpster from the southwest corner to the southeast corner, extend out the building for needed storage space and break room for our office and employees, put a screening wall along the south border, force the traffic to go around the south border up the service road, and TxDOT is going to be widening that service road and having a sidewalk there anyways in the future. So really, I'm just here to help answer questions, concerns, because there was a lot of back and forth when we initially submitted this proposal.
Thank you, Mr. Patel. If we have any questions after the public hearing ends, we will ask it then.
Okay. One more thing that was brought up and I want to address was parking. There are 60 spots currently. That's above the required amount for our square footage. When TxDOT does widen the service road, there are ways to combat that where we will have 58 spots. So that is slightly less than the required amount, but we have never had an issue with parking. We have two very busy practices in the two buildings on this parcel, and I don't think parking will be an issue. If there is an issue, we can put the cars along the southern border on Dana Street. So I'm there physically. I'm the physician and owner of this parcel, and we have two very busy practices, and it's really never an issue. So just want to let you know.
Thanks, Dr. Kemp. Anyone else like to speak on this item? Okay, hearing none, need a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make the motion to close.
Have a motion? Need a
Second.
Have a second online. All in favor, vote aye. Aye.
Aye, Clash.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much. Opposed? Love Zoom. All right. Public hearing has been closed. So staff, do we?
Yes, you guys can discuss, or someone can take, a motion.
Okay. Any of the commissioners have anything to discuss on this item?
I have one question. I just wanted to verify the parking space that's right next to that dumpster is
that long toy trucks can park there not long enough.
Yes, we discussed with, CWD already, that the radius is enough on the southeast corner.
No, I'm not talking about the truck, the dumpster, I mean, if there was a long vehicle parked in that parking spot, will it stick out past it?
Oh, no, it will not stick out that much. And that should be on the plan that we submitted showing that, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just reading up.
We have architectural drawings already.
Yeah, so there's about, standard space is 18 feet, and it looks like there's about 20 feet in between the space and the curb, so, yes, a car would fit in there. And it would be, they would be able to open the door to get to the dumpster.
Any other questions or comments from the commission?
I can see a lot of people cutting through there to get to the gas stations that are on the other side of Villa Road. That wall would help that for sure.
James, do you have anything, sir?
I do not.
Okay. Have any other points before we go to a vote?
Yep.
Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I second it.
All right, we'll give Mr. James that one since he has a little delay about that. All right. We have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay,
Aye.
and the motion carries unanimously. All right, on to item B, and thank you, Dr. Patel, for being here this evening.
Thank you. Thanks for the help.
Item B, conduct a public hearing, consider a zoning change from agricultural district AG to plan development zoning district PD 139 for single-family home and associated open spaces on approximately 71.88 acres out of the William W. Shelton Survey, abstract number 996, further described as being generally located approximately 1,300 feet north of Ovilla Road and east of Cresthaven Street in the city of Red Oak, Ellis County, Texas. Case ZC 22-17, requested by Bitsy Sue Framel and Thomas Edwin Mitchell. Staff?
This is a request to rezone the subject property from agricultural district to plan development 139 for the development of a single-family residential subdivision. The development proposes 102 single-family homes and 15 common area lots. Residential density will be approximately 1.4 units per acre. The minimum living area will be 2,200 square feet, and the lots will be a minimum of 22,000 square feet. Access to the site will be from Nina Street and Spring Circle, with two future access points from Hearthstone Boulevard on the north and south. There will be a north-south 8-foot wide trail along the west side of the property with trees planted along its sides. 4 traffic calming devices will be placed throughout the subdivision to slow down traffic in the neighborhood. Staff recommends approval of the request as presented, and staff is available for any comments, and I please the applicant.
Okay, thank you very much. All right. This time, we will open the public hearing. And, once again, if you'd like to speak on this item, we would ask that you come to the podium, that you speak, and do please give us your name and address, and we will discuss it then. I'll declare the public hearing open at this time. Don't all come at once. Thank you for coming.
Evening, Commission. Clint Vincent, I'm the Vice President of Land for Bloomfield Homes. We have this property under contract. 1050 East Highway 114, that's South Lake, Texas, 76092. If you don't mind, can I approach you with handouts? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
for the commissioners on Zoom, this is they're handing out, essentially, not an exact copy, but similar to what's in your packet, the home elevation.
And I do have some extras for anybody in the audience who want to take a look. And I want to be very respectful of everyone's time here. I understand that we're very busy. The idea here is to just give you an idea of what the housing product will look like. I don't know, this will be our first individual development in Red Oak. We are part of the Oaks, which is under construction that we will be buying lots in. But here will be our first go at being the developer and the home builder. I can more than happy walk you through this PowerPoint presentation, but I want to make sure I abide by the 2-minute time limit. I just want to go through maybe a couple of the highlights. We are the 2021 Builder of the Year from the Greater Fort Worth Builder Association. We're going to build over 2,000 homes in 2022. We are the biggest builder in the $350,000 to $500,000 price range. We do specialize in the nicest neighborhoods in smaller cities. We like to go to a smaller city and not necessarily be the low price point, but the builder that people want to choose. We find that a lot of people grew up in smaller communities and kind of want to go back to those smaller communities and want a house that they can be proud of and be a part of. Without getting too far into it, these are half-acre lots. We have the plat later on in the agenda. We have worked extensively with staff and hopefully have answered any questions they might have about the development. And I will be more than happy to answer any of your questions or anybody online's questions if you have any. And just happy to be here and excited to be a part of Red Oak.
Thank you very much. If we have any questions, we'll come back to you after the public hearing. Anyone else that would like to speak either for or against this item?
My name is Catherine Berry, 3330 Triple B Circle, College Station, Texas. Good evening. I'm representing the owners of Berry Farm. While we are for the zoning change, we are not for changes to the existing Red Oak transportation plan that would place financial burden on the owners of the farm. Berry Farm is adjacent to and directly north of the proposed Bloomfield subdivision. We met with the Red Oak City Engineer and Manager of Planning and Zoning in June, and the information that we received from that meeting indicated 2 future roads through Berry Farm would be required of any future developer, as well as a road intersection and most likely a bridge. There is a future north-south road that would be 65 feet wide and a northeast-southwest road that would be 80 feet wide. And that proposed road cuts through the middle of Berry Farm, dividing it into 2 parts. And as we understand it, that road will pass through the farm and have little, if any, driveway or street access to it. And according to the Red Oak Transportation Plan, that road would have a speed limit of 40 to 45 miles an hour. The bridge would connect the north and south road to whatever road would be required on the property, north of Berry Farm. On the map we were shown, there was no proposed connecting road for either the road that the developer was told had to be built on the Berry Farm. The original transportation plan for Red Oak showed no east-west road cutting through Berry Farm. However, as new subdivisions have been added, it appears the road has been shifted north to accommodate the new subdivision to the detriment of the owners of Berry Farm. We understand as current owners that we have no responsibility for building roads or bridges. But, however, we also recognize that the building of roads and a possible bridge would be very expensive and an additional liability to any developer. That would make it harder for future developers to make it economically feasible to purchase Berry Farm. In fact, Berry Farm was under contract last year, and the contract was terminated, citing, along with other issues, the cost of 2 roads. This would place an undue financial burden on us, as we would have to bear the cost of these proposed roads through a lower price per acre when the property sells. We know that a lot of time and effort of knowledgeable city planners, road engineers, et cetera, went into the production of the Red Oak Transportation Plan. We also know that the original plan did not include an east-west road plan that would cross and divide our property and impact it so negatively. We are hoping for a reconsideration of road and bridge requirements for the Berry Farm. It appears that the proposed road plan we were shown favors the property owners that were able to sell their properties first, allowing them to secure a more favorable transportation plan impact on their property. We are very concerned that Berry Farm has or will become unsellable at a price comparable to the properties surrounding ours because of the proposed road and possible bridge requirements with the associated liability. So what we would like to do is thank you again for listening, and hope that you will give our ideas and our concerns all due consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to speak on this item?
Hi. My name is Paige Guardiola, and I don't know if it's 2 minutes per person or 2 minutes property owned.
No, you got, and it should have been 3, I cut it to 2, that was old school.
Old school, all right.
Back in my council days, when I had to run.
I personally live at 211 Lazy Lane, I also own 213 Lazy Lane, 212 Lazy Lane, 210 Lazy Lane, 208 Lazy Lane, 207 View Drive, I also rent 214 Lazy Lane, I have a contract on 209 Lazy Lane, and I also have an interest in 212 Rock Creek. So kind of, I moved in. My effort was to own my neighbors so that I didn't have any neighbors, because when I first moved into the neighborhood, they weren't the neighbors I wanted. None, especially the ones right next door. So they're no longer there. So, next door to me has always been the Berry Farm. And I was always told that it was going to be a farm, it was landlocked, and never be anything else. So, this is a little bit of a surprise, but that's fine. So next door to me is directly the Berry Farm. I happen to know and have photos of, at the end of every street, Crest Haven, Lazy Springs, Rock Creek, Spring Circle, and Spring Branch. At the end of every street, every one of our streets drains into the field because the neighborhood was not engineered correctly. Our streets do not drain into the creek where they should, they drain into the field, okay? Either by Precinct 4 County has either dug the trenches that way, or personal people have, and they've done little breakaways or little, with concrete stuff. Everything drains to that field. So once this field is developed, we are all going to ground because we have no drainage. This is going to be a problem for everyone if this field gets developed the way it is, and this is supposed to be an easement. It's been the only way that we all have from flooding for years and years and years. So this is going to be, our first problem is we're all going to ground. We're in the county, it's Precinct 4, they've given up, they don't come back, they don't even dig us out anymore. So when it rains, we're underwater. We all are. If people didn't live in mobile homes, which I don't live in a mobile home, mine's on concrete, so I do flood, we're all underwater. So this is just going to back us all up. Now that we have that neighborhood that is from Ovilla Road to us on Crest Haven, the water from that neighborhood that goes into the creek makes the creek rise, and everyone along the creek floods from the creek. Everyone that's not along the creek floods because of the water that goes the opposite direction. So now that they're developing from Ovilla Road and 342, they've started that development. We haven't seen exactly how much that's affecting us because it's not finished. So now if you're going to put another 100 and whatever homes, 1.4 homes per acre on 71 acres, whatever the math is, that's a whole lot of concrete, and that's a whole lot more water, and it's going to affect us. We're just right in there between us and the creek. There is, water just needs a little bit of improvement. It's going to go somewhere. We're not protected in any way whatsoever from that. When water comes in, it's got to go somewhere. If you guys are doing your engineering to protect all your beautiful homes, it's going to go somewhere. And this neighborhood was built in the 70s. No one's come back to fix it. There's no HOA, there's no one. No one cares. We're in the county, no one cares. There's one street that comes in. It comes in off Spring Branch. It comes in, it crosses the creek, that's the only one that goes. So if you're gonna come in on Spring Branch and take a hard right, which is a very difficult corner for anything with a trailer, so if you're construction or whatever's doing that, that's a difficult corner, and then have this mean your main street into this neighborhood, that's an awful lot of traffic for those streets to carry. Main streets that are always having potholes filled. Anyway, and this is county roads, not city roads. So you're guys gonna have a City of Red Oak neighborhood and expecting your county roads to carry the burden? Because your street that is, Mina, that's a city street. These are county streets. No one's taking care of these county streets for us. Why are they gonna take care of them for you? Okay?
Thank you. You went over, but.
All right.
I gave you a little bit more.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much, Becky. Anyone else would like to speak from the side? Yes. Hearing none, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
Okay, well, I have a motion by Ms. Stanfield and a second, how about that, by Mr. Claus? Is that good enough, Mr. Claus? All right, thanks very much. All in favor of closing the public hearing? All
Aye.
right, public hearing is closed. We will open it for discussion at this time. Commissioners?
If you guys want me to address anything they said,
There's several things I'm gonna ask.
The concerns with Berry Farms, we did meet with them, and she's correct about everything she said. The initial, so remember, we've got this master thoroughfare plan, transportation plan, right? And so it has big bold lines drawn on it that go from point A to point B. And all that really means is we need a street connection from this road, this north-south road to this north-south road, and we need it done with a east-west road. Is it here? Is it here? Is it here? Is it there? It's up to kind of development. So when this development came in, one of the first things we said is, hey, we need to accommodate the transportation plan, which is why if you look at your screen here, they're showing the north-south collector running through here, which will eventually go up to Loop 9 that's currently under construction. And so I believe Lancaster also has in their plan a connection to come down somewhere, and so it's meant to kind of try to tie into that so that we can get folks from Ovilla to Loop 9 in more than one way. Right, because right now the only way would be to go north up 342. So this east-west collector that is shown on the transportation plan, again, it's just a big fat green line that says I need a connection between these two north-south roads. And so looking at where the existing infrastructure is and where the future infrastructure could go, it ended up going north and lining up with Spring Branch Drive there. Because just as to her point, it's the only one that crosses the creek here. So if we were to try to move it in a different location, like I think the comprehensive plan, again, if you'll look up here, I believe it has the road coming in kind of at an alignment like this, kind of down here. And so the issue with that, and let me jump over to a larger map. And so the goal of the transportation plan was to connect Pratt Road over here with 342 with an east-west roadway. And so this roadway is the only one that crosses that. But then in looking at where we would want to put that, well, we don't want to put it through all these existing homes that are here already, and then these homes that are about to be constructed, and then these homes that are already existing to get over here. So we always are trying to locate these where they would be in a new development so they could be planned for and accommodated accordingly. So that's kind of how we got to that point. And her other point about the bridge across the creek, yes, there would have to be a bridge across the creek. Is that something we would require the developer to do? Typically, yes, but all kinds of different ways could be done to negate that. either through development agreement or, currently we're doing a impact fee study of the city whereby we'll start collecting impact fees, for roadway improvements, and those impact fees would be collected at the time of home permitting and business permitting, things like that, and then they're saved up in a fund, and then they're utilized to build things like this, the bigger infrastructure pieces. Now, you know, if they bought both sides of the creek and we're doing a large-scale development, then we would probably just say, yes, you need to put in the bridge, and it needs to function for both sides of the development. But we just don't know until that person comes in. Scott, what else am I missing? The drainage.
The drainage, yes.
So yes, we do have some preliminary engineering that's been done by the engineers, and they have picked that up, and there's pickup points at the end of those at the end of those streets, and they have accounted for it in their drainage design. And additionally, they will be detaining all of their water. And what that means is they hold it for a little bit and then they release it at the exact same rate that it was being released at when there was no development. So that's what detention does, and we require that on every development. And so you'll see every development will have a pond or something located within the boundaries. That right here in the back side of their subdivision. I'm sorry, Ms. Ferry, you said there may be one more thing that I did not mention.
I had a question.
Okay.
So what is the length of time that someone would have to build a bridge? What is the length of time they're liable, or what is their liability?
So it would depend on the development. Any development that we do, we would work with that developer. Like I said, if they were to purchase the other side of the road, the other side of the creek, that would be a completely different conversation than if they just only purchased your property.
My question is, if a person comes in and builds a bridge, are they liable for the structure for 10 years? No. At the end of construction, we accept, as the city, we accept all the public improvements, subject to a 2-year maintenance warranty period. Okay, so they're just responsible for building the bridge, and then the city would take it over and be liable for repairs?
Correct. Correct. Anything else, Scott?
I have a question.
Yes.
So, with this development going in and splitting their property, with it devaluing them, is there no other alternative, or who would make up for that loss that they would have?
Are you talking about the roadways?
Yes, and because if we're cutting the value of their property for the benefit of someone else, I just have not a good feeling about that.
Yeah, it's for the benefit of the city as a whole, to have a transportation network that allows fluid movement of vehicles through the city and not creating congestion points in the city.
Experience, would it be a devaluation to have those?
It's just, as she said, the developer is going to factor that into the cost per acre that they're going to be able to provide in terms of an offer for them. Yes, ma'am?
So the people that are living on streets that have purchased property and have a dead end and have been used to having, you know, if 10 people live on a street and it's a dead end, they're used to having zero traffic on that street. Because there's no reason for a vehicle to go down that street. And now you're going to have the possibility of over 100 families using that as access to their home. So you have not only the 10 people on that street, but you also have the people all the way on the main street from 342 on Spring Branch, have that many more people doing traffic. You've got a whole neighborhood protected.
Right. And there's also, another connection point into the other existing neighborhood, that's connects to a city street. So there's 2 points of access, just like any other, subdivision we would do is.
This one's been here for 50 years.
I understand that. Yes, ma'am?
Next one. So as I understand it, in Spring Branch is the road that crosses the creek. And off of that road, there are many driveways. And it will connect to the road that would go across Dairy Farm diagonally from the south. And that road, as we were told, would then have to be a road with no access or very few access points to it.
So we
A road with a lot of
I understand what,
driveways, they don't match.
right, I understand.
A lot of requirement on to have it.
So for one, it's in the county, and so we would have to do a lot of work with the county to get that road widened up to where it should be. Second, on this development, we were able to come to an agreement with the developer about how we could mitigate our concerns of connections to a roadway like that, and it was with deeper front building setbacks, more on lot parking, so that they don't have guests and things parking in the roadway. And so, an additional, remind me guys, I think, didn't we do a 3-car garage requirement on that? So they all have to have 3-car garages. They also have to have off-street, like driveway parking with long driveways, and then the homes are set further back. So it's not unreasonable for, a developer to follow those same standards on your property, because we've come to the conclusion that we could, with, you know, some planning effort into where the homes are and what the homes provide, we can be more comfortable having a larger roadway that carries more traffic volume to still have homes fronting it.
Well, I understand that was the north-south road, that was the 65-foot road that had a longer driveways and the houses and things like that. We're addressing the one that goes diagonally across, that's supposed to be the 80-foot wide road, which on the transportation plan, it clearly states, and I cleared it, I actually emailed it to the planning manager, and we talked, I mean, she told me, yes, that it's an 80-foot road, it has very little access to it. So the north-south road is not an issue, it's the one that was east-west, not on Dairy Farm, but now is a diagonal road, dividing the road into, the one into 2 parts. The southeast part wouldn't have very much access because it's on east of this 80-foot road that can't be accessed, or very few access.
Right, and there are options we could do beyond, the having the houses set back and the larger driveways. We can do small slip roads and shared driveways and things like that could accommodate something on an 80-foot right-of-way road. Additionally, and I think we talked about this in the meeting, you know, this alignment is kind of just, that's what we would do if we were just putting in a road through a vacant property. Now, if you have a development that wants to go around it, it doesn't have to necessarily be in that alignment. That's the most logical alignment. But you could, like I said, you could come in straight, make a turn here, and then make a turn up here to get back through there. That allows you to lay your lots out more rectangularly than something that's diagonal. So there's still options. This isn't set in stone. That's why it's a big dashed line and not, construction drawings, right?
So you're saying the roads could be engineered to take up less of their property?
Not less of their property.
Not less of it, but to make it more usable.
Yes.
In the future.
Yes.
Right. Ben, I have a question.
Yes.
So you're saying it could be, if we make a proposal, can we make it that it has to be a 3-car garage and that they have to be set back?
Well, we're not talking about their property, but what I was referring to is The
No, I'm talking
north-south
about the development. I'm talking about the
Yes.
development.
So they do have that requirement already
Okay.
on the north-south road because it's a collector.
Now, another question in regards to that, when we had the discussion about the other property that's next to the apartments, we wanted parking for guests. Where will that be, or has that even been discussed yet, as far as
So
guest parking?
So in that development, the reason we were wanting guest parking is because they were small lots. They were only 50 feet wide, and a lot of them had short or rear entry, alley entry garages, and so there was nowhere for guests to park. And so in this one, these are half-acre lots, so internally to the subdivision, there's plenty of street parking, more than enough for
Okay.
guests. And then on the actual lots that front the collector, they not only have a 3-car garage, but then they have an additional requirement of a driveway that can, hold, I think the pad has hold 3 cars on the parking pad, and then additionally, their driveway is extra long, so you could potentially fit, 7 or 8 cars in the driveway alone.
So it would be similar to the subdivision that we live in, where there's the extra wide path.
Right,
Okay.
where the driveways go way to where they're a lot longer, yes. Sorry, ma'am, did you have a question?
Well, I'm trying to understand the north and south road. It's gonna go through the berry farm that's still there. It's gonna go north and south, meet with Loop 9 and have a bridge. Doesn't that enter into Dallas County?
Yes, and
But
so
the city of Red Oak will adopt the bridge and be responsible for maintenance of the
I
bridge.
believe
Even though it's in Dallas County?
if I remember right, I think the county line is just on the other side of the creek.
Okay, so the
And
city of Red Oak bridge is gonna go through the berry farm.
It will
Right
go
up
to
there.
the county line, the county line,
But the berry farm is still in county.
if it develops.
Well, no, the berry farm that's still the berry farm. So you guys are gonna put a road through it.
No, the road doesn't go through right now. The road stops, right here with this development, and if the Berries sell their farm to a
Then
developer,
there will be a north and
and
south.
they develop, this north-south road will continue north.
So there won't be a north and south road unless the developer purchases the rest of it.
Correct.
The future side.
Yeah, so if you look up here, you've got this dashed line that goes from Ovilla through the development, and then up through the Berry Farm, across the creek, and then up to Loop 9.
But if the church never sells, then that won't happen.
So that road is not being developed now, but later on, if that property is sold.
But the church has to sell too.
To get the full connection, yes.
So if the church doesn't sell, then none of that will go away.
Correct.
Any other commissioners have any other questions or
I have a
comments?
couple of questions.
Yes, ma'am.
If I read the code right, the typical setback in this zone or, the development would be 40 foot, and we're wanting them to be 30 foot. And our typical maximum lot coverage would be 40%, they're doing 50%. So, what do we, am I reading that right, or?
Yeah, well, we want to encourage more improvements on the property for higher property values.
So what are they doing in return for that?
So the 30-foot typical on the building line is only on the interior stuff, and then on the ones fronting to collector, that's where we'd ask them to move back the building line, so that they can have more room for parking, and the houses are set further back.
I mean, would it being, letting them have different setback requirements on the other streets and a lot, what do we do?
So it's actually better to have the houses a little closer in. It gives a better walking feel because you have an edge condition. Additionally, they have more room to put pools and storage buildings and covered patios. and things like that to actually utilize the backyard versus having this big, long front yard that doesn't really get used. So, I mean, it's a personal, I guess, preference for you guys. I would say in general, in planning, we want to see things pushed up closer to the street to give an edge condition for when you're walking. You're talking safety, interaction with neighbors, things like that. But it's certainly a community preference if
No, I'm just trying to understand what they're about. So,
Sure.
I have a question. Would the traffic calming devices still be implemented if that connector goes through?
Yes, because
Okay.
the connector will go through. It's a matter of when will it go through.
Okay, so, the street's not gonna be initially built to accommodate the connector, but you'll have the right of way to.
It will be. When they install their development, they will install it to the standard of a 65-foot right-of-way, which is, Warren, what were we doing, 39-foot street on that?
About right.
Yeah, so 39-foot, back-to-back, whereas a regular residential street's 29. Which, makes for a nice-looking raceway, which is why we
Mhm.
included all of the traffic calming
Right.
at the intersections.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am?
The county streets going into that neighborhood are not those lit.
Right, and we can't do anything about the county streets.
Okay.
This was gonna be a point, and this is absolutely not a shot at the city. This has always concerned me that we get to this point before we can talk to the county about things, and it puts you guys at a horrible disadvantage because you're unable to tell us what the county is going to do. So I don't want it to come off as I'm saying anything against the staff here. This is a long history of my concerns with being able to go city-county, because it is a completely different animal than bringing something into the city that doesn't have an effect with the other one. So, in that respect, or in that regards, if this is moved forward, what's your process of being able to communicate with the county to see? I don't want to take a shot at the county, I work for the county, but, in a different capacity, but I don't want to get into a position where they come in and say, we're not doing any improvement into this, now we're stuck here, move them forward, and we're kind of back in a position. So.
Yeah, so likely it would not be anything that's done anytime soon, and we wouldn't be looking to do that anytime soon. What would get done is, when the Berry Farm develops, we would probably, if you want to look up here, if this happens to be done before this, and then the Berry Farm develops and this gets done, that's when we would probably approach the county about doing a interlocal or doing a shared project, where we say something to the effect of, hey, what were you guys gonna spend on retopping this with asphalt? Why don't we kick in and we'll just make it a concrete section and do, an actual, larger right-of-way for this connection? Because I believe, the county's thoroughfare plan matches our thoroughfare plan and shows this as a roadway connection from Pratt to 342. So it's within their purview to have, funds issued to do a project like this, as is it in our purview to have something issued, to do a project like that.
Mr. Lindsay, Commissioner Lindsay, if I
Yes,
can,
sir. Yes.
on the connection that we are making, I think it's Garden Springs, is it? The name, what we're connecting to. We actually did meet with the county. Spring Circle, is that the name of it? Okay. We actually did meet with the county and talk to them about that process, and the answer is that we will make that connection, and we will have to go from the city section down to the county section, and we would more than likely, the county doesn't like private contractors to work on their county roads, so what we would do is a donation to the county, and they would, as a designated fund, they would use their county resources to make that full connection, and that they were willing to operate and connect with us in that city-county connection on the one connection we have from city-county roads. So we actually have met with them, with the commissioner and the engineer with the county on Garden Circle.
And that does make me feel better, because again, we are talking about bringing them from a county road into a city project, and way back, we had a few of those issues, and I don't want to relive those as well,
Yep,
so.
but also do remember, we have the connection that's from a city street,
Correct.
that's already concrete, so.
That one, I feel fine about that.
Yeah, and my guess, I don't know, but the majority of traffic will be coming, from 35, and they'll head down Ovilla and then cut through the Camden neighborhood, versus going up and cutting through the county neighborhood, but obviously, it's up to them who live there that make that decision on how they drive on.
I have one more question. So there's a Bloomfield development going in Split Heights, Huntington Park, and it's 87 acres, so it's a little bit bigger than this one. But, it has 10 acres of walking trails, fitness equipment, pavilion, basketball courts, playgrounds. How do we get those sorts of things in the neighborhood? Go with Red Oak.
What are the requirements for that?
Yeah, sure.
Those are also 50, 55, and 60-foot lots. These are half-acre, 80-foot by 120, 22,000 square foot lots. That's the difference. 50-foot lot and open space, or you get a half-acre lot. That's kind of the difference in types of neighborhoods that we're providing in Clinton Heights versus Red Oak. This is a large lot subdivision. Kind of our approach.
But Commissioner Stanfield, to your point, we do typically ask for some kind of amenitization of the property. And in this case, where you do have the large lots and the larger estate-type homes, we felt it was adequate to do walking trails along some of these open spaces versus, for example, in the Oaks subdivision over here, where they have a bunch of 50s and 60s, they're doing, they're doing a lot more lots. Which is, say, I'm sure in that Glen Heights subdivision, it's, what's that, 300 lots or 250 or something? So when they have that much, and then their lots are so small, you're providing them something they can't have on their own lot, whereas in here, we wouldn't want to provide a pool for only 100 lots, because they're probably going to get their own, because of the size of the lot. But we do, from our perspective, anytime a developer comes in, it's, where are my amenities, right? I mean, we have those conversations with them all the time. But again, because of the lot size and the lot count, it's on the board, on the edge of saying, like, man, we really need something. But that's certainly up to y'all's purview to ask for. And we didn't really get into it, but there was, some of the other amenities that are not necessarily like use amenities, but aesthetic amenities, like the entry features and the entry monuments, things like that, that make the subdivision have the appearance of I won't say wealth, but just the appearance of a higher standard of a subdivision.
Are there going to be sidewalks in there?
Sidewalks, yes, sir.
Keep forgetting you guys. I'm sorry, James or Leroy, you guys have other questions?
What's the projected price range for the homes?
We can't ask that, when we're talking to developers. Usually, I'm not saying you can ask whatever you want. But the way we, as staff, typically try to get a zoning code written so that they are that higher quality is through building materials and square footages. And so the minimum home square footage on this is 2,200, which likely means their product is going to range between 24 and 36. Tell me if I'm wrong.
No, that's right, and in this handout.
So,
500 million tax base, so assuming an average sales price of close to $500,000. Now, but the market will dictate the prices, and I promise you, we will sell for as much as we can.
Sure.
Well,
in your PowerPoint, you say that your highest market share in 350 to 500.
Yeah,
And in today's market, that's not necessarily a lot of house.
well, we are typically not building on half acres, so this would, you're building on smaller ones, and in a community like this where there's half acre, the higher price point would be where we have to be to get where we want to.
Hey, Ben,
And how tall is the
Um,
wall by the county?
Hold on just a second, James, we had a question here.
6 foot masonry
6
wall.
foot?
Yeah.
Okay, James, go ahead, sir.
well, I was just wondering, are we just looking at doing the subdivision, or are we approving everything? Because in the past, we've had, excuse me, examples of, like, I think one of the builders, like the higher end garages and things along that way with landscaping. Are we gonna get that, or is this it?
There, if you go through the actual written documents, there's, some, requirements for landscaping and things like that. They've got some small, vignettes in there that kind of give an example, and then when they actually turn in the, construction plans, they'll have the full construction documents, that have all of the landscaping in it.
Am I correct that we're just approving the zoning?
Yes, yeah, this is the zoning, and then additionally, the following agenda item will be a preliminary plat.
Because I think we had another developer where we were looking at like better materials as far as the garage doors being different, the entryways, things along that line.
Yes, so there's several, entryway, concept photos,
Hello?
for that higher value look. You know, the minimum front door height on the homes is, 8 feet, you know, so it's the larger, front door, it's not the standard. There's anti-monotony requirements, that don't allow, you know, the same home to be built within a certain number of homes. Minimum roof pitch of 812.
My connection is horrible here at the airport. I can barely hear anything.
Yeah, if you want to scroll through your packet and look at the elevations of the homes, you can kind of see, the concept products that they'll be providing.
Okay.
And am I correct, Ben, am I seeing this incorrectly? This is the zoning.
Yes, sir.
And we normally will come back and have another item. Did I dream something from a couple of months ago? We don't normally have that as one item. Can I only see that in one item here?
Are you talking about the plat or where?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a development plan that's part of the zoning package. And then additionally, we'll have another item that is the preliminary plat.
Another item in the future.
No, another item tonight, that's the preliminary plat.
Where's that at?
It's under consent agenda. And then there'll be a final plat that will come back to you guys.
Okay.
The final plat will come in the future when construction plans are complete.
Correct, and I think, is that what you were getting at, James? That we're going to see?
I don't think he may have went through all of the written requirements, is probably what he's referring to, because he's talking about landscaping and, you know, garage, orientation.
Well, I'm just looking at, I'm looking at what I'm seeing up here. Now I'm starting to see the others, but we generally have like the sidewalks, how far they're gonna be back, a little bit more visual of the actual products that are gonna be built. So I was just making sure, like what Scott is saying, is that we're not giving a final approval here and this is it. Before construction, it will come back. to us to look at the materials, the landscaping, the setbacks that we're talking about, because we mentioned that we want the driveway set back, but you also said that you don't want to set it too far back so that they can't put a pool. So we have to make sure that we're on the same page. We can't go too far back and come too far forward at the same time.
Yeah, so that's all been looked at by staff already, and if you look at your development plan, it's got the building setbacks on it. And because these lots are so big, 10 foot here, 5 foot here doesn't really make a difference because the depth of the lot, is over 200 feet in most cases.
So what are we looking at a standard setback? 50 feet, 40 feet?
The standard is 30. On the collector road, it's 40. And that's just to get the homes a little further back from the main road.
Okay. Okay, that's it.
But I think to answer the question, everything is included in this packet. So if you go through the packet, it's got development plan, it's got vignettes for open spaces, and it's got sidewalk, where the sidewalks are, what the homes are going to look like, and then a written, and then it's all kind of written out in case there was something missed on a plan. It's all written in text as well.
I understand.
Okay.
It's different than it has been in the past.
Okay.
It's confusing to me because we've had item 1, item 2, we've done the zoning, then we've done the plat. And
right.
again, it may just be the way the agendas are, but it's confusing to me.
Well, yeah, so sorry about that. We had a lot of plats on this
I know.
one, and so we put them all on the consent agenda because they're typically not something we review in the actual meeting, but in this case, we have to approve the zoning before we can approve the plat, and so we just had the plat in the consent with all the other plats.
Absolutely, James, my point is, when we get to the consent, that obviously can be pulled, so if there's questions, then definitely.
Right.
I think that's what we get to. There's another question.
Shops are, the houses will be on the septic.
Yes. Yes.
Is that the minimum for this?
Yeah, that's the minimum for the state.
There are county is
Right. The county has certain requirements, and then the state has certain requirements, and we follow the state requirements because we have our own septic inspectors, whereas a lot of other municipalities go with what the county does, because then they can make the county come do all the inspections.
fairly large homes with multiple bathrooms.
Right, and Warren, I can't remember if it was yours or another one. Did y'all do a layout that showed like where the house was and then where a pool would be and then the septic spray field?
Bloomfield has a partner, a Royal Crest Homes, these types of homes. I think are live, I think that to show that's under construction right now.
Yes.
It's showing you this.
Right, yeah, they have shown, their engineers have shown that the systems they're designing will fit in addition to a pool, an outbuilding, and a home with the footprint that's been provided in the minimum square footages.
Okay, 'cause that's a concern for Berry Farm because we are downstream from all the stuff that.
It is white limestone, white limestone rock, right?
There's spray, so this is spray, this is not bleach.
No, I understand about that rain, but,
No,
it goes right to the ground.
We still smell
Yeah.
it. We know it is.
Well, yeah. I think that the Bloomfield is, they're gonna be able to tell how much they.
Nobody seems to be here from the east side of the property, and you know there's like a 10 or 15.
Okay, we can't get, I'm sorry, Sharon, we can't get back in the back and forth. Okay, any other commissioners? have any other questions or comments? Leroy, I'm sorry, I'm back to you. James, anything else?
No, I don't have anything else.
Anyone else that's present? Before I go to a motion, I'm gonna wrap this up on my end by saying, first of all, none of us want growth in our neighborhood. We don't, I don't, they don't, we don't. However, landowners have the right to develop, sell, and process, and I just want to say that up front. And there are certain restrictions that we obviously, as a city, cannot just pick and choose who gets to. It's not that quite cut and dry. I will say that as someone who's been in council a long time, I do a lot of investigating of these builders myself. I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed with the product that they're presenting and bringing. It's going to be real transparent. It could be really a lot worse, folks. There are additions that come into the city that I wish never would have years ago. But this is a very good product. I believe that the questions, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion only, have been answered. I obviously am always concerned with transportation issues. I believe that Ben and everyone has done a really good job of answering that. The drainage issue I know was a concern. I do honestly believe that that is being taken care of with the city planning. They've done a very good job of holding people accountable to those. So, again, I'm not gonna say one way or the other whether we should or shouldn't. That's up to this commission. But I will say that I believe that they've done everything. They've dotted their I's and crossed their T's, and they're bringing forth a good addition in this area. So I'll open it up for a motion at this point. I will then entertain a motion to approve as presented.
I second.
Have a motion and a second. Have a discussion. All in favor, please vote aye.
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 Opposed? None opposed, motion carries. Thank you all very much for being here. And we do appreciate your comments. Item C. Item C is conduct a public hearing to consider a zoning change from single-family residential district 3, R3, to plan development 142, PD 142 for single-family homes on approximately 1.0302 acres identified as Block 1, Block A of Methodist Street Addition, and addressed as 324 Methodist Street, City of Red Oak, Ellis County, Texas, ZC 22-22, requested by the City of Red Oak. Staff?
This is a request to rezone the subject property from single-family residential 3 to plan development 142 for the development of the single-family residential subdivision. Development proposes 3 single-family homes with a minimum living area of 2,400 square feet and lot sizes that will be a minimum of 8,400 square feet. A shared access easement will be provided from Methodist Street for access to the 3 lots. Staff recommends approval of the request as presented and we're available for any questions.
We will open the public hearing. Anyone who would like to speak in favor or opposed to this item, please step to the podium, name and address, and we will give you 3 minutes to present your case. All right, seeing none, and need a motion to close public hearing. Have a motion by Ms. Stanfield. Mr. Stanfield? Have a second?
Second.
All right, second by Ms. Nick. All in favor of closing the public hearing? Aye.
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 All right, unanimously, we are closed. And, questions? I'm gonna let you guys go first, because I've got a ton. Maybe not a ton, but a few. And I'm gonna jump on anybody, but.
Go ahead.
Okay.
You're probably gonna ask the same question. I got.
We are about You're seriously telling me we're gonna put 3 homes in what I drove and walked today in that small area and do that safely with not impeding on everybody else right behind that? This one seems out of whack to me. We seem very tight and on top of each other. That's a small piece of land.
It's a full acre. It's a full acre. The lots have been configured so that they're meeting what's already zoned there, the minimum square footages. Now they're a little narrower, but they're deeper so that you obtain the same square footage, and then the building line is set further back, in order to be a little further off of Methodist Road. So the intent is merely to take a vacant piece of land and have higher standards than what's already there. It does have a single driveway that serves all 3 properties versus having, 3 driveways out on the Methodist Road, because you're right, that would be too much. So a single driveway that will serve all 3. Again, the standards for plotting are meeting or exceeding, with the exception of the width on the front lot 1 and 2, and then they are exceeding all of the other standards of home construction.
One ingress egress point, one road.
A shared driveway for 3 homes, yes.
Okay.
But it's 24 foot wide, the actual pavement would be, which is, very similar to any commercial development that would have a 24 foot wide access point through it.
Do we have anywhere else that we are allowing one point of entry and exit into 3 homes? And again, this is nothing on you guys. It always sounds like I'm going at the stat. This to me looks like we are setting up somebody for a tragic incident, fire, whatever the case may be, being able to get into that back. And in the case that there are some problems on that roadway is extremely narrow, as you guys know. Very overused and undersized as it is.
Right, so we just put it out for bid to reconstruct that roadway. Again, the access easement is 24 foot wide. The plat eliminates people's ability to block the access easement. I'm not saying they couldn't park there, but if it came down to it, we could have a tow truck or the property owners could have a tow truck remove it, because it's in a common access easement that is stated legally on the plat that you can't impede access within that access easement.
So it's a driveway, not a public street.
Correct, but it's 24 foot wide, similar to any commercial development that would have emergency access. Like
the owners could post no parking signs and make it a tow-away zone. Is that feasible? Is that possible?
In the common access area, no one would be able to park, and yes, they could do that. It's set up to really not, so this person in the back, it's set up for this area here to allow for that driveway to come right here, and then they wouldn't need to go beyond this point here. Their fence would run down here, and their fence would run down here, and then this person would just have a driveway that went back to their house.
Like that on Cedar Hill.
Yeah, the intent was to make the front 2 lots more like the district that it's in, and then the back lot be more of an estate lot, a little bit larger, kind of offset from the road.
just as I'm learning this, 0.2 acres, is that fairly typical for a small
Yeah, so these,
home?
no, like that, you can still have a 40-foot wide pad on that,
Uh-huh.
and because of the depth, it can be quite large. And so the minimum home size set here is 2,400 square feet. But, you know, these lots are similar in size, that are adjacent to it, as far as square footages go.
So you're saying these are gonna be 2,400 square feet each?
That's the minimum, yes. So they'll likely.
So it would have to be like,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said, so what it's gonna be, like a shotgun style, or, cause,
I mean, a row house is typically 20 feet wide.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, it'll be 40-foot wide, very similar to any other, home on a 50-foot wide lot.
So that the front door will not orient to the,
It'll orient towards Methodist,
towards that.
yeah. And then the garage will orient, facing each other, so,
Gotcha.
you know, lot 1 garage will face lot 2, and the lot 2 garage will face lot 1, unless they wanted to do it all the way in the back or something, where you couldn't see it at all.
Leroy, anything?
I mean, if the fire department's good with it.
I agree with that. Where I'm getting caught up
The
here.
fire department, review that? Entry?
No, but they have a standard, our zoning allows, driveways up to 200 feet long and actually allow them to be gravel. But in this case, we're requiring concrete.
It's being as wide as 2-lane road. Driveway.
It's smaller than a road, but larger than a standard driveway. Right.
Great neighborhood parties.
James, you have anything, sir?
no, no. Nope.
My thoughts exactly. Whatever you said. I don't want to cut you guys off that are online, so I'm giving you plenty of opportunity. Anyone else that's present have a question or comment? If not, I will just say on my end of it, I feel like we're setting up a dangerous situation with one point of entry exit in that tight of an area. And, I'll just open it up for your motions at this point.
Yeah, I'm not. I'll make a motion to close.
Motion to.
I think we've already closed the public
We've already
hearing.
closed. You're making a motion to
Oh.
approve or deny.
I'm making a motion to deny.
Okay, we have a motion to deny the request as presented. We have a second on that motion.
I'll second it.
We have a second on that motion. Any other discussion? The motion again would be to deny the request on item C. All that are in favor of that motion, which would be of denying that, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed to that motion? Same
No.
sign? All right, so we got 3-3. Right there, Ben?
Yes, sir.
That means that, Does not carry, correct?
Correct.
Okay, all right. All right, the next item,
Still goes to council.
okay. Yeah, it'll go to council, they can override it. Conduct a public hearing, item D, conduct a public hearing, consider a residential replat for Methodist Streets addition, creating block 1, 2, and 3, block 1, from lot 1, block 1, and providing a shared access easement on approximately 1.0302 acres of land. Property is located approximately 250 feet south of Bob White Drive, east of Methodist Street, is identified as lot 1, block A of Methodist Street addition. Address is 324 Methodist Street, City of Red Oak, Ellis County, Texas, PS 22-12, requested by City of Red Oak.
This is the same property that you all just made a motion on. This is just a replat to actually subdivide.
And it does say public hearing, so at this point, need a motion to open the public hearing. Or, I'm sorry, I'm opening the public hearing, so if anyone would like to speak for or against this item, please feel free to step forward. Seeing no movement out there? Mr. Prez, you're not moving, are you? I didn't know if you were scratching your ear. No, okay, seeing none, motion to close public hearing.
Move that.
Okay, Kevin says close, we have a second.
Second.
Ms. Biggs, all in favor of closing public hearing?
Aye.
Okay, public hearing is closed. Staff, y'all want to discuss anything else on?
No, you'll just have to, you can't approve it because we just denied the zoning, so, yeah.
Okay.
Nope.
All right, so we will just pass on that item, correct? And move it on to the council, or?
It'll have to, if it goes to the council and they approve the zoning, it'll have to come back to you, which at that point, it then would be ministerial, and it would be, have to be approved.
We are good to go on to item E, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Item E, conduct a public hearing and consider a zoning change from agricultural district AG to plan development 143, PD-143 for Eastridge Elementary School on the site of address as 725 Ovilla Road, located approximately 400 feet east of Cole Road and south of East Ovilla Road for the construction of temporary portable buildings in the city of Red Oak, Ellis County, Texas, ZC 22-23, requested by the Red Oak Independent School District. Ms. Emma?
The request to rezone the property from agricultural district to plan development 143 for the addition of 2 temporary portable buildings on the Eastridge Elementary School site. The temporary portable buildings will be placed behind the existing school and will be used for educational purposes. The elementary school has a design capacity of 560 students, and there will be 560 students during the 2022-2023 school year. Although the future enrollment has not exceeded its design capacity, the growth is unprecedented. The current timeline for the portable classrooms on site is 3 years, and staff recommends approval to accept this.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, we will now open the public hearing. Mr. Prez, I think that means you're on. I figured you were going to put it on him, right? Yes, ma'am. So.
Well, good evening.
Aye.
For those of you who don't know, Red Oak ISD is growing. And, we did some preliminary counts, for this year, and I can tell you that as of today, Eastridge Elementary, and we're doing new student enrollment, and we're up 32 students already this year at Eastridge compared to last year. And with the subdivisions across the street to the north, I think everyone would understand they're coming. That's all I would have to say.
What was your name, sir, for the record?
My name's Kevin Frails, I'm from Red Oak ISD, 109 West Red Oak Road.
Thank you, Mr. Prez. Anyone else would like to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
All right, have a motion by Leroy,
Second.
second by Kevin. All in favor of closing the public hearing? Aye.
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 All right, that's unanimous. All right. Questions or comments or any from staff? I think we,
we worked a lot with the school district and wanted to make sure that they were gonna be getting the things that they needed, while the city wouldn't be, quote unquote, harmed by anything they've done. Now, typically, we wouldn't allow something like this, but since it's a temporary in nature and the zoning does have a sunset provision in it, whereby at the end of 3 years, we'll have to revisit this. And so hopefully by that time, they'll be able to come up with a plan that, eliminates these and has more permanent structures on the property. But when they do the additions or the new schools or whatever, we'll also see that in the form of a zoning case. Hopefully they can get that done, and like I said, there's the sunset provision here, so they're not meant, so it's very clear that it's supposed to be temporary.
I have a question. How many students will each portable hold?
Well, the portables, we're gonna use those for pull-out programs. Pull-out programs.
Okay.
We will not put classrooms of students out there because it's safer and easier to use them for pull-out programs. So there's gonna be 4 total classrooms. They may have 10 students in one room at a time, 6 in another. It'll be for specialty teachers. And that way, those classrooms or those teachers are using a full classroom inside the building now. And we can relocate them to the portable for a full class. We use the portables for pull-out programs. So there won't be 4 times 22, there won't be 88 students out there at any one given time.
Okay, because when I was looking at the math, and I'm not really good at math, so forgive me, but y'all said that there's 32 students, already 32 more students than you had planned, and there's currently 893, and it was designed for 560. Is that correct?
Well, it's an architectural lingo about design versus functional and everything else.
Yeah, I know.
That's where, if you would take every room in the building that's a perfect school and you could put 22 of them in.
Right, I understand that. I know that you have less students in some rooms, and in some rooms you have more. But say on the average you had that, you're still 333 students without.
I don't know exactly where that 800 number came.
Okay.
it's listed in our packet
Yeah,
that way, but
that may be we had some, that was, and that may have been, they may have taken that from the actual marker at the end of the growth cycle.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, I see your current enrollment. I see on the Glenn Engineering, page 3, this current enrollment is 560. Is that more like it? So, and I know that, and the design capacity is 560. So the 32 additional students that are coming on board, you're just gonna absorb them into those classrooms?
And that's what we're saying. We have pull-out programs.
Okay, so you're gonna have room with,
Yeah,
when you leave.
room. If we have
Okay.
portables, we will have
Okay.
room.
Because my second question was with the plan layout for the portables, it doesn't look like there's room to, with them oriented parallel to each other, doesn't look like there's room to put a third one in if you, actually needed additional?
We don't get to the point of needing the third one.
Well.
We hope we have a new plan, Mr. Hartman said. We have a new plan by all the school additions.
Okay, well, we also know that the bonds don't get approved, and then
Well, you can only connect 2 of them face to face like that, and that, you prefer to do that, that is some safety issues.
Right.
too. We want
one walkway between the 2 of them.
students spread
Yeah.
out.
Okay, well, I was just curious.
Okay. 3 years from now? So 3 years, do we have to go through this process again? If we,
The hope is that the new plan,
well,
we
we
come
saw
back,
how the last bond election went.
right,
So new plans are wonderful, but you gotta fund them.
right.
And 3 years, can they stay, or do they have to be moved?
So it'll come back up for
Reapply?
commission and council,
Reapply? Okay.
yeah. And so, and same thing if they wanted to add one, if they wanted to add one or two, it would have to come back because the site plan's changing.
Just don't wanna put the district in a position where they're struggling.
Right, and, luckily they're way on top of it and they're getting this stuff in here instead of calling us the day before school starts going, hey, we need some zoning help.
Well, sometimes the day school starts, you find out you got those 32 extra students. And I would love to see the district resolve this because temporary classrooms oftentimes become permanent.
Permanent, yes.
I've seen some that are 20 years plus temporary, and that's not good for the kids. Okay.
Well, from working with them, we also, that's kind of why we had them, or we asked them to set them where they were the hardest to see from the road as possible, but still be functional. And so that's why it's located behind the building there.
No, I understand. Plus, it's probably safer for the kids.
Yeah.
Leroy or James, do you have anything else, gentlemen?
I do not.
Stanford, you didn't have anything else to say? You gonna let him do all the speaking?
I'll go ahead and give you the
Okay. Ms. Stanfield, Mr. Stanfield. We have no other, discussion. I would entertain a motion that we approve item E as presented.
I'd second it.
We have a motion by Ms. Stanfield and a second by Mr. Haley. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Still there, Leroy? I didn't see him up there, so let's bring him up. Did we lose him?
You put in the chat a while ago that he wasn't feeling well.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and make note that Leroy is,
Is there a timestamp on that chat?
Yeah, it's on your, that's there, let's see, 7:57.
Okay.
Okay.
Note that he left at 7:57, Ashley.
All right, so, that was all in favor, so motion will carry unanimously. Item F, conduct a public hearing, consider a zoning change from single-family residential district one, R-1 agricultural district AG, plan development 114, PD 114, plan development 144, PD 144, for Red Oak Middle School on the property addressed at 154 Louise Ritter Boulevard and located on the southeast corner of Shawnee Road and Louise Ritter Boulevard for the construction of temporary portable buildings for the city of Red Oak, Ellis County, Texas, ZC 2224, requested by Red Oak Independent School District. Emma?
Request to zone the property from single-family residential district 1, agricultural district, and plan development 114 to plan development 144 for the addition of 3 temporary portable buildings on the Red Oak Middle School site. The temporary portable buildings will be placed in the front yard of the site and will be used for educational purposes. The middle school and 6th grade center have a combined design capacity of 1,149 students. Current enrollment is 1,592 students. The 2022-2023 enrollment will have 1,650. School has exceeded its capacity number of students. The current timeline for the portable classroom on site is 3 years. Staff recommends approval.
At this point, we will open the public hearing. Anyone who would like to speak for or against this item? All right.
Good
evening. Brenda Sanford, 504 Shawnee Road, Superintendent Red Oak ISD. First, just appreciate everyone's hard work and trying to work with us to try to get this done. Middle school, of course, we still have a couple of weeks till enrollment is finished. We're setting around 1550 right now in our middle school. That was pretty much built for around 1200. So we are definitely looking at what we're going to do going forward. As Mr. Hartman explained, we do have a plan, so we're hoping, very hopeful this will be temporary, but we are in very dire need of having some accessibility to some different areas to place different students in. So I'll let him explain all of the portions of where they're going. We did look at where we could position them, and unfortunately, this is going to be out in front of the building, but it's going to be the area that we're able to access as well. So I know you might have some questions on that. Mr. Brells, of course, is very knowledgeable and handles that, but I just wanted to say I appreciate you working with us and trying to help us to meet the immediate need, hopefully very temporary need, but the immediate need. Thank you.
Anyone else that would like to speak on this item? Seeing none, the motion to close public hearing.
Motion.
We have a motion by Stanfield, okay, all right, there we go. You guys got that right. She's over like, oh, who was that? All right, thanks. Okay, so it is closed. You have any other discussion on it, staff? You want to talk about the location?
Yeah, so this one was one that we couldn't get in the back reasonably away from the street. Kevin, remind me, do these have bathrooms in them?
These three do.
Yeah, and so their water and sewer connections were up there at the front, and so it would have been really tough to get that. Same thing with, I think they've got an electric line right up there they can tap right into, versus putting them on the back of the building. The other concern with putting them on the back of the building was that there wasn't anywhere to put them except for in the parking lot. And so the last thing we want to do is blow out a bunch of their parking, you know, that they've got back there. So, again, temporary nature of this, then we were okay with them being in the front. And you know, we had all these discussions like, well, let's have them in the front and tell everybody to drive by them and say, we don't want to look at temporaries anymore. We want to pass a bond and get schools built, right? I don't know if it'll work like that, but anyway, so that was the reasoning for these had to end up on the front.
And I really should know the map pretty well over there, but just for everyone else's purposes, can you kind of give me what that area is right now, Mr. Brells?
Behind the old administration building, to the kind of the southwest of the old administration building, to the east of the old middle school, and then north of the CTE building. I think at one point in time that it was designated as the performing art place to put the performing arts center to located to the new high school. Basically, the area. It actually has just easiest spot to navigate over there too. With the great.
Yeah, because in addition.
West campus, as Mr. Lindsay would know, it's big smoke out there.
Yeah, in addition to doing the portables, they're also having to install sidewalks and things like that to it. So.
Yeah, and that was going to be my next question. If you are going to have to put sidewalks in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so because of the temporary nature, we don't want to require a whole bunch of permanent improvements beyond what is just absolutely necessary.
Right. Any other questions, comments, or discussion? If not, I would entertain a motion. We approve. Got my little paper up here. Item F is presented.
I second it.
Okay, Kevin has made the motion and James has seconded. Any other discussion? Not, all in favor, vote aye.
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 Opposed? Opposed? Item carries. Item G, conduct a public hearing, consider a zoning change from agricultural district AG to plan development 145, PD 145 for HA Wooden Elementary for the property addressed as 200 Louise Ritter Boulevard, located on the southeast corner of North Lorenz Road, Louise Ritter Boulevard, for the construction of temporary portable buildings in the city of Red Oak, Ellis County, Texas, ZC 22-25, requested by Red Oak Independent School District. Ms. Emma?
Request to rezone the property from agricultural district to plan development of 145 for the addition of 2 temporary portable buildings on the H.A. Wooden Elementary School site. The temporary buildings will be placed behind the existing school and be used for educational purposes. The elementary school has design capacity of 671 students, and the 2022-2023 enrollment will be 583 students. Although the future enrollment has not exceeded the design capacity, the growth is unprecedented. Current timeline for the portable classroom 3 years of staff approved.
Again, this is a public hearing. Anyone who would like to speak on this item? At least we're getting Mr. Frells his workout. He doesn't have to go home and hit the treadmill.
Kevin Farrell, Assistant Superintendent, Red Oak ISD, 109 West Red Oak Road. This is basically a mirror image of the East Ridge one that you saw earlier. Thing about Wooden, that they may not be having the residential development in this attendance zone, but Wooden houses one of our specialized learning programs, our bilingual education program, and we won't know a bunch of those students until several days before school starts if they qualify for a program. And they are geographically split between 2 campuses in our district, one on the west side and one on the east side. And all those students that receive those services come to this campus on the east side. And they're already up, as of today, for their normal enrollment. I think it was 17 students more than what we had last year. So, and that doesn't even count the specialized program students for the year. Thank you.
So what you're saying is we're growing?
Because we keep approving all these new buildings.
I kind of thought that, yeah, could be too. All right. Anyone else like to speak on this item? If not, I'll make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, close? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. So this item is closed to the public hearing. Staff, any other comments? Nope. Cut and dry, isn't it, at this point? All right.
Another one where it says the current enrollment date 61, I bet when
Those
you use the
are
report.
clear, those are clear, yeah, those are clear for the typographical issues.
Yeah, just wait till the apartments and the other homes get built. Jesus.
James, stop with the good news. Gonna make Stanford run right out the back door. We don't need to. Okay. All right, there's no other discussion. I entertain a motion that we approve item G.
Second.
The motion. Okay. And a second. Motion second. All right. Doing an auctioneer job here. All right, all in favor, aye. Got Mr. James already, aye.
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 Opposed? G. Passes. All right. I don't want to stick around for any more time. Thank y'all for coming. There you go. Thanks for coming.
Is that it? I gotta go to work.
No, not you. You're not done. The school's done.
Oh, man.
All right.
I might need a job.
If you leave, you're going to get elected to something, James, so
Oh,
don't do that.
Lord. Lord.
All right. Consider the appointment of a secretary for the Planning and Zoning Commission. I'll let the staff say why that's on here.
And next month I won't be here. I'll be in Europe for 3 weeks, so I won't be here.
Now,
I
stop
don't
bragging.
even want to hear about it.
So the purpose of the Secretary of
So I won't even be on Zoom then. Forget it.
Okay, Ms. Emmons got the floor, go ahead, ma'am.
So the purpose of the Secretary for the Planning and Zoning Commission is to keep record of minutes and keep records of recommendations that have been given to city council. So a secretary is supposed to be appointed to the planning. You all can vote on who.
Does it help you? Does it help you?
We take the minutes anyway.
More for like today's situation where Derek wasn't here and then Leroy was on that, so then they would be the next senior member.
Oh, gotcha.
Absolutely, so, was
So
that?
you don't have to do anything, I think is the point.
Oh.
We
Was that
take the
a
minutes.
volunteer, Meg, is that what?
No, I didn't want to do this.
I thought maybe you were volunteering.
No.
Are you volunteering, Kim?
That was Meg, it
Oh.
sounded like she was volunteering.
No, I didn't volunteer for anything.
Okay, all right. Anybody, want to make a motion or interested in, that glorious office or position?
Is this a paid position? Answer question. I may be a
I'm using the alternate excuse.
I don't really understand what the role of the secretary is.
It's somewhat in the olden days, whenever, these commissions were generally formed, you didn't have staff around taking notes and stuff. So it would literally be a few people from the community get together, and then you would have these certain positions, and secretary would be one of them to take the minutes and take the notes and things like that. But now it's more of just a title so that you can be placed in an order of seniority. So it's commission, vice chair,
Oh,
secretary.
got you,
Occasionally you'll sign a document.
Right.
Okay, got it, okay.
I think you're doing a fine job tonight.
Yeah.
You threw me right under that bus, Aaron, I was
Hey, guys, I'm gonna have to leave.
Bye, James.
All right, bye-bye.
You want to make a motion on somebody or no?
Negative.
Okay, very good. Okay, you want to go.
As he hangs up, I'll nominate James.
Okay, I will be happy to if that's Will. I don't want to place myself up here, so someone else is going to have to.
I nominate you.
My second.
Okay, all in favor?
Oh, they just did that to you, didn't they?
You've done a very good job.
Thanks, James.
Obviously, you had more experience at this than the rest. At least two of us since our first meeting.
And we're excited you guys are here. All right, the next is the consent agenda item, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Number 3, consent agenda, all items listed below are considered to be routine by the Planning and Zoning Commission and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of the items unless commissioner or citizens so request, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered it as normal sequence. Approval of the consent agenda authorizes the administrative official or designee to place each item on the city council agenda in accordance with Planning and Zoning Commission recommendations. And I believe I've got to read that, don't I? Okay. Into the minutes. Consider approving the item, I is consider approving the minutes of the following meeting for June 6, 2022. Item J, consider approving the preliminary plat proposed plan development zoning district PD 139 for single-family homes and associated open spaces on approximately 71.88 acres of the William H. Shelton Survey, abstract number 996, further described as being generally located approximately 1,300 feet north of Ovilla Road and east of Crest Haven Street, City of Red Oak, Ellis County, Texas, PS 22-08, requested by Mitzi Sue Fremmel and Thomas Edwin Mitchell. Item K is consider approving the final plat for phases 1, 2, and 4 of the Oaks, a residential development for approximately 123.781 acres of the A. Frederick Survey, A. 375, J. Chapman Survey, A. 214, J. S. David Survey, A. 323, James Patton Survey, A. 839, generally located south of Stevenson Road and west 535E, generally known as Platted Development 98-R, PD 98R, in the city of Red Oak, Ellis County, Texas, case PS 22-10, requested by Goodwin and Marshall Incorporated. Item L, consider approving the final plat in Phase 3 of Oakmont Park subdivision for approximately 36.051 acres of the Edmund Shirley Survey, abstract 103, generally located approximately 1,560 feet north of Ovilla Road and east of North State Highway 342, as known as Planned Development 66R4, PD 66R4, in the city of Red Oak, Ellis County, Texas, case PS 22-11, requested by K.
Hovnanian.
Okay, yes. Hovnanian, DFW Oakmont Park LLC, GRBK Edgewood LLC. Is there anyone that would like to pull any of these items for discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
Move to approve.
Moved by Kevin,
I'll second.
second by Meg. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. And now, motion to adjourn.
Make the motion.
All right. Second, all right. Been motion seconded, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, staff, for a lot of hard work.
Yes.
2 months worth of work. Welcome. Welcome, guys.
Yeah, welcome our new people.
Glad to be